Hello, good morning, and welcome to Volland Refined. I'm Jason, the Wizard of Ops. With me all day today is Hunter. Maybe we'll give him a lunch break, but today, today is our all-day live stream that showcases the brand new features available at vol.land. We also have a wide range of special guest appearances during 8 different live segments. If you're joining us on YouTube, you can go to the description of this video and get the links to all 8 segments. So, Hunter, let's get started. How you doing? How you feeling?
Good morning. Feeling good. Had a really good morning routine, so primed for the day.
All right. Excellent. So Hunter, just so everybody understands, Hunter is our 0 DTE trader for Kyrios. Kyrios is our in-house hedge fund, and that is, basically he does the 0 DTE trading section for us. I do the swing trading using options on SPX, and we also have, you'll see her later on, Phoenix from our Discord. She does the individual equities and swing trades, and really we are not Wall Street traders. We are basically retail becoming institutional, and our results kind of speak for themselves. We've outperformed quite a few institutions, right?
We're leading the pack.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a quite a wild ride. I mean, we've actually hired some consultants, and we, just to learn how to do this, you know what I mean? Like that, just to learn how to trade like a hedge fund. So hedging everything, all that kind of stuff. Good morning, everybody. And I'm glad to see you here. And I'm hoping that you stick with us because it's going to be a long day. So anyway, all right. Hunter, I am going to bring up here we are. This is my screen that I look at when I do my Substack every morning. So I will go through it first and kind of see the lay of the land on a higher level. The higher level does have an impact on 0 DTE. It's not just paradigms and charm. You do have to look at the Vanna, particularly for like this week, maybe like the next 5 days or so. So just on a very high level, this has not really changed much. It has been very negative Vanna for a while. There have been constant kind of options traffic as we've bounced around. We've gone down, we've gone up, and there's been constant options traffic to flatten out a plateau right here in Vanna. So that is kind of helpful in that it uses that it takes like a wide range on the all expiration. So that's one thing that I have noticed. But that's not really a 0 DTE thing. Let's kind of get down to today's thing. So right now I'm going to look really quick at this week. Here we go. So this week will encompass today, tomorrow, and Friday. We have this huge negative Vanna. So somebody is selling puts here. Hunter, what are you seeing here, man? There's somebody selling puts here and then buying below. Are there a lot of bullish verticals here put on by customers? And what does that tell you for today?
As far as today, I'm really taking a look at 0 DTE, but with respect to that, we've sort of seen a lot where dealers are holding sort of these short puts out there. Customers are trying to get insurance. We've had a very volatile last week. And so this week, we're sort of all anchored on today's news. We have a lot of news today. And so there's a lot of bullish bets that we're just going to continue back to all-time highs. But, I really want to see how the landscape changes today. I think everyone's sort of been sort of holding back. They want to, sort of stay hedged. They want some upside risk, but it's really going to be determined by today after hours, I believe, with the government. So I think this is still, sort of supportive of higher prices, but I really want to see how risk sort of changes hands after lunch today.
Yeah, I agree. I think also too, when I'm looking at this week, and this is huge to me, we're kind of teetering here on a lot of customer long calls, right? There's a lot of speculation here. Excuse me. A lot of speculation here. And we're kind of like, if we go up even just a modest amount, we're going to fly here to 6,900. And we could start seeing some resistance after 6,900. So I think from my perspective on a higher order, and now, of course, this doesn't include 0 DTE. So, and it doesn't include order flow. So I'm, take this with a grain of salt, but from the higher order, I like, I think a run up here to 6,900 and maybe a little bit past could be in the cards. I think if you want to see a further breakout, we'd have to break out over 6,920. I don't think that'll happen necessarily. I don't think we have the catalyst for it, but all we need is just a little push and we're gone. Like we're up to 6,900 and a little bit further. Do you agree with that here?
Yeah, there's a lot of negative gamma overhead as well. So that really favors a trendy based environment. So, any small little catalyst, when that risk sort of comes off the table with what's going on the administrative side, fiscal side, then this gamma is really put in above us, so we can definitely see a strong squeeze to the upside.
Yeah, I was about to mention that. That's kind of the next thing I check after I check kind of the higher area of Vanna, the lower end of Vanna, and then gamma. We're looking right here at some major negative gamma here, which is indicative of a huge push. We start to get some positive gamma here, so it looks like this is kind of like a more like a vertical kind of feel from customers, selling closer, or like buying closer end calls and selling further out. But a lot of call speculation here. This area of negative gamma was run in the overnight here. We closed at like 68.50, right? So we have 20 points to the upside. So this area right here is where we are, right in the middle of negative gamma. So I think we can see some whipsaw. But again, there's a lot of call speculation. If we do drop, I do think it's kind of going to be on a 0 DTE basis. It could be a dip to buy. On a swing basis, I mean, I want to see this area right here hit this 69.10, 69.20, because I want to sell. Like I want to sell on a swing basis once this rally is done. I think this rally, though, it could take a little bit. I think it might end before November OPEX, but that's kind of my swing thing right now. On a swing basis, I am completely flat. Part of that is because I want to see this top, but the other part of it is I'm going to be on all day today, so I can't babysit my positioning if something goes awry. So take that for what it's worth. But yeah, so that's kind of what I see. Looking at the gamma. Hunter, do you want to check out your 0 DTE? Let me go. Oh, actually, before we go to your 0 DTE, I did want to highlight next week. Next week we have 69.50 and 7,000 as huge speculative call strikes. So if we do break out of that range that I said before, like this 69.20 area, we break out over 69.20. We can make a run as high as 7,000, right? The 69.50 is huge, and then 7,000 is completely massive. If we get to 7,000, I will be selling that with both hands. So,
do you need an extra hand?
Yeah, three hands. I'll be like, yeah.
I'll help you out there.
One right here. Yeah. No, I will be selling that. So that is my that's kind of my quick assessment. We'll look at next OPEX after this. So Hunter, do you want to go over what you're seeing on your side for 0 DT?
Yeah, we can.
You want my 0 DT screen or yours?
Oh, we can just look at mine.
Okay.
if that's easier. So I know I have a lot packed in here. What I like to do is I kind of zoom out, and so you really fit a lot of widgets in one. But at the top here, I do have sort of put only charm, call only charm, then combined, and then just looking at sort of what the cumulative curve looks like. In the middle right here, we have delta, put delta, call delta, then combined, and then down here at the bottom, it's oh, I have this backwards for some reason. When you just kind of zoom in, zoom out, you start playing around. It swaps around sometimes, but you get the point. I have things very meticulous and very organized. And so what this really helps me do is, first thing I like to focus in on is this delta chart in the middle. This really gives me the easiest idea of, what positions the dealers have. So when I see positive delta right here, I can see that the dealers have these short puts in the market. Vice versa, if I just look at the call only, I can see, okay, dealers are long these calls right here, they're short these. Ideally, this is going to give us negative gamma on the put side, or on the call side here. So we can see this all highlight negative gamma from these short puts right here. We see 68.25s. I can see this is a lot of negative gamma right here. So really easy to dissect it for me. And this is why I sort of put all these charts in one. We do a 0 DT alert. But as for today, we've only really had sort of like 50,000 total volume for overnight sessions, so not really much. We're not seeing much inventory. You can see by the notionals, when I look at the put notionals right here for Delta, it's 300 million roughly at the high. You see 750, so it's a lot of call inventory from the dealers right now, not much on the put side. So it doesn't really make it that supportive to me right now. And so we also had a gap up. So a lot of the inventory is just in the money. We just haven't had, a lot of 0 DT volume. We look at a good day as like, 1.8 million contracts, 2 million contracts. We've only had 50,000. So inventory really hasn't reset. One thing I am looking forward to is, about the first 30 minutes of open, then that's when we'll get a much better idea as, where customers start to position at. But as of right now, we see this gap up. We've gapped up around 22 points right now from ES side. Looking at SPX, we do have overnight SPX prices here, which is very, very valuable in my opinion. But as for right now, we can see Charm is very light right now. So Charm's not really going to have a strong support for us right now. As for call side, I'm really looking at 68.30s. That's where we're going to have a little bit of positive gamma down there. It's really going to, really going to be a little bit supportive to the downside. I don't really see any strong targets to the upside till we really get up here to 69.20, which is what you mentioned earlier. So it sort of seems like our short-term ceiling today is that 69.20 level. What I really want to look for is, at market open, where the put's giving us support at, and then we have sort of a area to participate at for like a line in the sand. Right now Charm's quite bullish at open, but it is very weak. We have a little bit of negative gamma, so sort of same outline that you had for your longer term Vanna analysis. So right now I want to look at the 68.30s as being supportive. As we get down that positive gamma, and we can see vol start to crunch a little bit. Spot vol beta was in line yesterday, so I want to expect that spot vol will be in line today. If it's in line, we can come down, see vol start to crush there at 68.30 level, and trade us to higher prices. So I see this as a supportive paradigm today.
All right, so let me translate what Hunter said. I understood everything. I don't know if everybody else did, like spot vol or all the Greek kind of things. In essence, we see a lot of support, both of us do, in that area right below current price and gamma. That's very supportive. I guess from a 0 DTE standpoint, Hunter, you're hoping that we kind of fill the gap a little bit, and that would be an opportunity to buy, correct?
Yes. So the reasoning behind that is that we don't really have much put notionals right now. What I want to see is in the morning, sort of opening drive, I want to see that put inventory come in. Dealers start getting short puts. That's going to give them positive delta on the books. They're going to delta hedge down. So that'll help us fill the gap a little bit, and then we can get supportive as we go from, later in the session. The charm will come off the books.
Yeah. So from a 0 DTE standpoint, I see as well, I think that we're buying dips today up to 6,900. 6,920 is kind of our breakout area, right? Between 6,900 and 6,920, maybe pair back a little bit or go flat. But if we drop to like 68.50 or something, that's a good time to buy. Right? That's a good spot to buy.
I would like to see 68.30s a little bit more.
Okay. All right.
But that's just me.
Well, here's the thing too. I mean, just so everybody kind of gets an understanding, Hunter doesn't make a trade every day. We're kind of putting ourselves out there a little bit today because we're live streaming. But if we don't meet our targets, we're not going to put on a trade. Or if something happened, if there's a shift, we're not going to put on a trade. Or, so there is no guarantee that we will put on a trade today. Hunter does trade ES futures. So that's the only trade you'll see. It's like either long or short futures. But if he doesn't put on a trade, he doesn't put on a trade. And that's how we roll, right? Here in Kyrios, we don't try to force anything, especially since we're already up 4% for the month. So
that's a key point, is that we don't have to make a trade every day. It's just where we can get the strongest confluence, where we can get the highest probabilities. And so that's a little bit on the trading and risk side outside of the data. So I particularly like when the data gets the strongest. You can have, still have higher probabilities when you're playing in the middle. I just want more things to come together.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we have 15 minutes until the market opens. First thing I'm going to do is I am going to go through the catalysts. Then I'll go through your comments. The market should be open by then, and we are going to look at how Volland transitions, because in those first 10 minutes after the market opens, we're going to see a lot of traffic coming in. We're going to see, where that put support actually is. Right now, Hunter's looking for 68.30, but it could be 68.50 by the time we see all those puts come in 10 minutes later. So, all right. So the next thing I am going to look at, and I'll just put us here, are the catalysts for today. Today, we are looking at a lot of Fed speakers. At 9:20, so in 3 minutes, Williams speaks. And then at 10 o'clock, Paulson speaks. At 10:20, Waller speaks. So we got in this 1 hour area, we've got 3 Fed speakers. None of them, of course, are Powell, but that's a lot of Fed speakers. And I think people are going to be looking to them to see if there's clarification on a December cut or not. That is something that can kind of spike our expectations. What I'm hoping for is Williams, Paulson, and Waller. They come back with, we are not certain that we should cut in December, and we get that little drawdown. A lot of put buying causes that drawdown, so a lot of people buy puts, and then that's when we can start looking to go long into that 6,900 region. 10:45, Treasury Secretary Bessent speaks. Everybody already kind of knows what he's going to say. So I think the only thing that we're kind of scared of is anything with tariffs or trade data. Bessent usually is the one that breaks that news. So I don't know. I'm a little concerned about that. All right, Hunter, do you think there's anything there?
I think I really need to see positioning going into it. One thing that I really notice is that there's a large, people wait till last minute before, 1 minute, maybe 3 minutes before that comes out to really see if it's going to be influential. Like when you watch data releases like CPI, PPI, you'll see the limit order book just get very thin. And so out of the blue, in the middle of the day, sometimes when you have these speakers, when you see that limit order book really start to thin up, then that's when it's going to be a real event.
Yeah.
But a lot of the times it's just a nothing burger. But I like to really get in there and say, okay, if other people are starting to value that information, then I need to. But right now, I'm going to assume it's probably not going to be anything major.
Yeah, probably not. But you never know. The other thing, too, is at any moment in time, Trump can throw out a Truth Social tweet thing and cause a spike. And a lot of times, and this is something also to note for 0DTE, a lot of times when we see that spike, it gets reversed. Hunter hates them because he gets stopped out by them, but but we kind of have to, if we keep an eye on it, it usually hits these targets that we have. So, I mean, let's say Trump comes out at 9:40, puts out a Truth Social that says, I hate China. And then, we see a drawdown, but usually that drawdown ends right around our target. 68.30 is what we see right now. And that is a buying opportunity. So while in the moment, those, I don't know, what do you call them? Truths? Socials? I don't know. But one of those TSs, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever you call them. The initial reaction is, oh, like, we just got a shock to the market. We weren't expecting it. That had nothing to do with it. We're in negative gamma area. It's not, so the market will move if there is a tweet. And that gives Hunter fits. But,
Well, it really
it does
creates.
provide opportunities too.
That's one thing I was going to hit on. Is like a lot of those times those vicious downturns really create sort of an over VIX signal too, where we'll spot vol correlation will go up 1 vol point worth, and so then that'll be a great short vol rally that's going to really come out of that. So that's where we just see those massive reversals. And if it really sticks to intraday where we do close right at the lows and you have a spot vol correlation of like 1.5 points, we'll really see that sort of get unwound the following day, and you have a great framework for that.
Yeah. Okay, so continuing with looking at possible catalysts, Bostic speaks at 12:15. Moran speaks at 12:30, but nobody listens to him anyway. Then at 1 o'clock, we have a White House briefing with Caroline Leavitt. I love listening to her fumble. So that's just, she says some things that make me laugh every press briefing. And then at 4 o'clock, we have Collins speaking. As a side note, at 1 o'clock also, we have a 10-year auction that could change things a little bit. Remember, yesterday, the bond market was closed. So, there could be some strong moves in the bond market today, too. And that's what I have. And then at tonight, there is going to be the House vote on stopping the shutdown. So, again, I think the shutdown could cause an initial boost to markets just because shutdown is over and people can fly again. Yay. But I also think, and especially in negative gamma, but I also think that when that shutdown happens and the schedule of data releases comes out, that's going to increase event vol, and we can see, a sell off after that spike. Speaking of vol, what is the current straddle cost today, Hunter?
I was looking at it earlier. It's probably one of the lower ones for the week, but we have it right at 28 points on the offer right now.
All right.
So, earlier this week we were looking at 36, 35s, and then ironically tomorrow it's priced at 46 on the offer. So we're expecting a lot of volatility tomorrow, likely reflecting the event that's going to come after hours today.
All right. All right. So let's see some of these comments. Julian writes that the smartest guys in the room, Wiz and Hunter. It's very keen for you to notice that we're also the only guys in the room. Pollock, I'm here to learn, and this is a comment that I want to highlight here. I get how powerful the main concept is, but I have no idea how to read these charts. So there are a couple of things that I want to highlight. First off, and I'll bring up my VolLand. The first thing I want to highlight is we have a Volland Academy. So when you log in, you will have, and it's free. So you have an academy here that you can take a bunch of courses. It has our YouTube. It walks us through all of the widgets. It walks you through how to read everything, the Greeks, etc. We are going to have probably a few more new videos coming out of this session because there is a lot of new features that are coming out from this. And I will highlight now one of those new features is our VolHacks, right? This is kind of, we designed this in order to kind of shorten that learning curve, okay? This is mostly for new subs. And when you're looking at all these charts, when I'm showing you like these Vanna charts and, this is kind of crazy and, a lot of histograms and lines and, what does this mean? Red, green, it can be very intimidating for the new subscriber. So we started putting out these VolHacks. We have 4 right now. As time goes on, I'll probably get some more recommendations and maybe we can build some more. However, the first one I wanted to highlight is the quad screener. We had a screener before, kind of showing large changes in Vanna and Delta and Theta and all that kind of stuff. It was still a little bit confusing, but now we have this quad screener, which I put up 50 of our top stocks in right now. You can switch of any of our 1,000 stocks. By the way, Volland improvements, we've already pointed out 2 of them in this video. One is pre-market SPX pricing. And the second is we now, instead of 250 tickers, we now have almost 1,000 tickers. So that is, and in those 1,000 tickers, you have all 500 of the S&P. You have a lot of leveraged funds. So, stuff like TQQQ is in here, SQQQ, there's a lot of leverage things in here too. So UVIX, we really went all out. So part of this also is we like to notice this through dispersion, right? If you have 50 stocks up here, which a lot of them are showing quite bearish, in direction. You got Baba, Eli Lilly, NVIDIA, SPY, J&J, PLTR. You have a lot of quite bearish stocks in our top 50. But you look here, there's some stocks that are quite bullish, and one of them is SPX right here. You can now do some dispersion, right? You can do, I don't know, I want to short QQQ and long SPX, or I want to short AVGO and long, where did we see that? Meta, right? There's you could find these pairs here. There are some here in the middle, IVV, Microsoft. And what this shows is what is the expected direction looking back 6 months. Are we at our highest, our most bullish outlook, our most bearish outlook, our most volatile outlook, or least volatile outlook? You can see this is kind of, even though these are all bearish, they span a wide swath of volatility. This could be least volatile, right? And this would be the most volatile. The red square would be the most volatile. So you're looking at Google, GE, PM, that, these could be some very strong bearish plays. Now, this is kind of a crutch. This is to shorten the time frame, the learning curve. So probably what I would do, from you experienced subs that are out there, I would look at Google, let's say here, Goog, right? Well, Goog has 2, so I wouldn't do that. Let's say GE. So then I'll look over here and I'll check out GE. Yeah, I checked out Disney for earnings, but let me change the ticker to GE. And what do I see? All right, so there is a huge strike here for this week at 300. That looks like somebody bought puts, right? It looks like a lot of people bought puts right here, right? Quite a few people bought some calls. So even though GE is at its lowest Vanna, it's actually positive Vanna. What do you? What's your take on this, Hunter?
On General Electric, I can't tell you the last time I looked at GE, if I'm being honest.
Me neither. I mean, I focus a lot on SPX, but GE, I'm looking at this. This looks actually kind of supportive. There are some speculative calls up here. There's a large speculative put here.
But really, just looking at the daily chart on GE, this thing really hasn't moved anywhere since September. It's moved nowhere in the past quarter. So,
yeah,
one thing too is that, bearishness may not mean a lot of downside. It just means, okay, maybe we just want to stay right here.
Yeah.
Or a little bit of downside.
Yeah. Overall, I think what has happened is so when we show you this bearishness here in VolHacks, what I'm seeing is not necessarily that it's bearish. It is the most bearish it has been in the past 6 months. And it looks like Vanna is still positive here. So, it looks like this is actually just kind of people were probably buying calls, and we could end up, kind of tight in this area. It does look kind of like there are a lot of bought calls and bought puts here. When I go back and look at the earnings, or I'm sorry, this is by the way, it's labeled as Andrew earnings. Andrew is a subscriber who does earnings with us, and I set this up for him, but I use it all the time. I like using it for individual stocks. Looks like probably what happened is people started buying calls up here, and now it'll end up, kind of in a tight range, but it could be volatile because we do have some negative gamma down here. So I mean, that's what we have for VolHacks. Spot vol beta, kind of probably got to refresh to get this.
Market just opened too.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. Another little thing on the quad screener, one thing that I'm really looking forward to use that is really looking at sectors. Like if I want to look at the financial sector, where I can just put in those, instead of just looking at XLF, which may give me a different view, I can look at the stocks within it, see what can have a little bit greater beta. Within that, I can look at, maybe I want to long the sector, but short certain stocks within it. So it really helps out that dispersion side. Or, what's the tech sector looking like from the Mag 7? I can see which ones to do like a long short with the dispersion there. So I really look forward to doing it by sector, look at financial sector, look at energy sector, look at tech sector, look at utility sector, consumer discretionary, all those, and just have those in one spot. And so you can see, who are likely to be the leaders, who are likely to be the laggards.
Yeah, I agree. I actually was, when I got this quad, when we finally made this quad screen, I was thinking, have all the sectors all lined up, have like the indices kind of lined up,
There goes
have everything, kind of made out in that area. And then, you could see, a preference for which sector you want to go into, healthcare, financials, all that kind of stuff. So I'm very interested in that. And so before I go into the other VolHacks, Hunter, we just opened. Did you want to get anything? Did you want to show us anything, or like what do you see as like immediate order flow?
So as of right now, we haven't got that much inventory. We're about 1 minute into open. We see that giant move lower. We opened up right around 68.68 on SPX, and we're trading 68.60s now. So this is sort of the expectation. We're waiting for those puts to come in. Let's see where those puts come in. We can see a lot of supportive charm down here, down the 68.30s. That's the key level that we were talking about this morning. So I know that we're around 30 points from that. So we just really need to see inventory develop right now. Like we were thinking earlier, is that we need to see a lot of those puts come in early. That's really going to, dealers are getting long deltas from the puts that they're selling. And so with that, they're going to start initially taking a short hedge against those. And so, right now, I think it's going to be very nice to see how these puts develop. I'm thinking sort of a bearishness out the gate. So, not much has really changed. Need some more inventory. And now we're about to get a new update. Thanks to these 2-minute updates.
2-minute updates, another improvement on the last one. So last Volland, we our tiers were based on how often you get updates, and the reason why was mainly technical constraints. But now with Cboe doing a lot of the calculation and processing for us, we are able, our technical constraints have been released, and now for 2-minute updates, even on our lowest tier. So that's very exciting. And honestly, in the recent market, we've noticed that you've needed 2-minute updates. We've needed 2-minute updates. So I mean, it's like Hunter said, you see the inventory start changing very quickly. All right. So let us check. Pollock has another. Well, here first, Jason Smith's comment: mortgage the house and sell with both hands. I am not in the business of giving you investment advice. So mortgage the house. Well, if you don't already have a mortgage, good on you. So I don't know if I would go that far, but let's see. Pollock has another comment. You reckon having charm, delta, and gamma widgets for intraday trading? That's on you, Hunter.
So I told this to a lot of people. My primary view right here is delta. That really, I understand the gamma, charm. I understand those very in depth. And so whenever I look at the delta by strike look, I can look at puts, I can look at calls. And so what that really helps me understand is like sort of how much inventory is there. What's the size of the position? Because as we go up and down, or as we go forward in time, the gamma and charm curves do change. And so what's really helpful for me is to see, okay, let's just take an example right here. We see 68.61 spot price right now. Okay, if we move up, let's say 10 points as an example, we move up to 71s. Well, likely charm is going to decrease here, but we also see 68.50 will become more supportive. And so we'll actually see this negative charm increase in size. So we're starting to see it a little bit there. So you can see how 68.50s are starting to grow a little bit more. We see a lot of customers coming in, getting those puts, which is a little bit why we're selling off a little bit in the morning. So this is increasing here. But yeah, as we move up in price, I can see that we're going to get more and more negative charm right here. That's, later in the day, that's going to be a lot more supportive. And this, likely can turn out to be sort of the line in the sand shifting higher. Same with call side. Right here, we're starting to see a little bit of a sitio because, these customers are selling, or the customers are buying. They're buying the puts, and they're also buying the calls. And so customers are, from the dealer side, we see that, okay, dealers, they're getting some negative gamma right here, they're getting some negative gamma right here. So we're in this giant range of short gamma. So I can just simply sort of walk this back. It just helps me get a better understanding of, if we move up 10 points, if we move down 10 points, how are the gamma and charm exposures going to change? And I like walking that back to say, okay, this is where we'll get a little bit more supportive. This is where we're going to get a little bit more resistance when we trade those prices. So I can see right now that at 68.30, that's a lot of in the money calls. I can also see that up here, we're going to start getting a little bit more positive gamma because, dealers are long these calls up here. The 68.95, 68.900, that's where we're going to get a little bit of resistance. And that's how I like walking it back. I know that may not be everyone's, cup of tea, but that's just what makes sense to me. And I think that's what really goes into the platform side, which is, you're able to use whatever widgets you need to sort of get that image. And this is just what worked for me.
Yeah. What is the current price now? Looks like we're dropping.
We are a little bit sideways. We see 68.62 on dashboard, and then actual SPX is 68.64. So.
All right. So we took a little bit of downside, but not a lot, right?
Yeah. We see NASDAQ. NASDAQ's making a new low, and then the Dow is just going straight up.
Yeah.
So we're going to have a little bit of chop out the gate. That's what that really kind of looks like to me. Likely a little bit of sell side chop as the tech has a higher weighting in the S&P 500.
Yeah. But there is some tech, like Apple's in the Dow too, right? Apple and Microsoft?
Yeah, Apple's down around 90 bips. Microsoft's, relatively flat, down 7 bips. Nvidia's up 0.5%. Amazon's up, 21 bips. Meta's down 0.5%. Yeah. AVGO's up 136 bips. Google's down, 110 bips. So.
All right. Manindra Sin says, watching a trading stream that doesn't have 500 different prop firm referral codes is refreshing. Hey, if you have a way to get me money, I will do it. But, if you enter VH50 at checkout, you're going to get that first month of VolHacks for half off. Our VolHacks tier is now our lowest tier because, like I said, these are the easy widgets that ease the learning curve, right? So they will help. It'll get you into our Discord. You can ask questions. Get to know how the VolHacks help your trading, and then when you take that next step, which is a dive into these charts, you watch the Academy. The VolHacks will help you when you're trading immediately. So VH50 for half off of the VolHacks tier. So there you go. That's our referral code. That's what you're getting. Hopefully that's a little bit better, Manindra. Is actually just a discount thing. not just a referral code, but yeah, there we go.
And another mention too is that the tiers are progressive. So as you go higher in tiers, you still get VolHacks,
Yep. Okay. Yes. Also, that all tiers get VolHacks, even if you want to, if you're familiar with Volland, you just kind of want to advance, all the tiers get VolHacks. So you will always have that available to you. Again, you put different sectors, put in your workspace. It's good. I'm excited about building my VolHack workspace, especially around the quad screener. That's the most exciting. I am noticing, Hunter, there's a lot of puts getting bought, huh?
Yep. This is sort of our expectations coming into the morning game plan.
Yep. Nice. So
we need support to get under us so that we could go higher. That's sort of that's why I look at insurance, right? Is that when people buy insurance, it makes everything else go up. Everything gets more expensive. So when people are buying, they want to buy the puts. We gapped up. Let them buy the puts. It's just going to make things more expensive later.
Yeah. Nice. So what do you have, like a new target? The 68.30 now, probably a little too far down, or?
I personally really want to see a little bit more downside. We see there's been a large rush into the 68.50 puts right now. 68.30s is still below. So we're sort of like almost building like a Gex line in the sand here. One thing that I don't see developing as strong, and it's likely just due to the size of the 68.30 position, but we don't have many calls overhead. We're starting to see them a little bit develop now into 68.80s, but as of now, I'm sort of still in the bear camp for the AM. We're seeing a lot of these puts come in, and it's not stopping, right? And so when we look at notionals, spots really sideways, but just look how this is increasing. We saw 68.30 originally, 68.50 is still growing. Customers are still buying those puts, and that's going to give us downside pressure on the index. And so as long as customers still continue to buy puts, I wouldn't necessarily bet on the upside yet. I think this is something that's going to come later in the session. I typically look at, gamma is going to be a little more of a driver in the mornings. And really that's because you get new flow. As new flow comes in, dealers are going to take that immediate delta hedge. And their primary risk is, how's that sort of spot going to immediately move in the morning? And so as we sort of see tapering on the customer side that, okay, we're not going to buy these puts as much anymore. We don't necessarily need them. We don't see them as a risk. Then that's when we start seeing more support come in for prices.
All right. Agreed. Another thing I just wanted to note before I go through the comments again, underneath these bought puts, those are sold puts. I don't know where that starts there, but it looks like there is a lot of traffic underneath there that, those are the premium sellers. And that seems like a great place to sell premium. If you're itching to put on a trade now, 15 minutes into the session, maybe selling puts down there, now is a good idea. Collect some premium, and it's probably going to be like kind of a relaxing day. We may get a spike down, but it shouldn't threaten those puts underneath. What do you think?
Yeah, I typically look at that as sort of like financing a position, right? I can just buy the put outright. That's going to cost me a debit right off the back. But with that, how can I finance that insurance? And so with that, I can go sell options against it and sort of build like maybe a ratio. If I'm really seeing some downside, I want to buy the at the money puts. Maybe I'm buying two of them, then I'm going to sell one off. And that kind of gives me a little bit downside protection, but it's a little bit financed. So I think it's good to position in the wings. We really don't see strong moves there, but we do see a lot of it's starting to shift the 68.10 area right now.
Yeah. So probably what as an option trader, and this is just me, I'd probably be selling 6800s. I don't know how much premium you're going to get for that, but sell a bunch of 6800s, 0 DTE. That's probably at least my initial look. That seems like a great trade to hold for the whole day, and that's your payment for watching our live streams.
For me, I like to sell it once we get a little bit down there. Customers find the 68.
Yeah, we can do that.
Honestly, just a little downside first, and then as it gets a little bit more expensive, then I'll take that position. But
yeah, those positions are like that 6800 put. That doesn't increase much in price if we go down to 68.50. You're just probably getting like your 3% for today, 3 to 5% maybe.
I'm happy with that. That's a good day.
That's a great day. That's a great day. But by the way, A, no investment advice. B, don't put your whole portfolio into that. If Trump tweets something that says we're launching a nuke at China or something, or China launched a nuke at us, you're going to lose all your money. Well, I guess if it's a nuke, but you're going to lose your money anyway, but whatever. The
arbitrage.
But regardless, my point is that, you don't put your whole portfolio in. When you do, personally, now we're talking about my trade style. When I short, I do a short gamma vertical or something like that, maybe 5 to 7% of my portfolio goes in. If I'm maybe even today, because I'm confident, looking at that put traffic coming in, I'm getting pretty confident that my 6,800 put's not going to even get close to tested. I might do 10%, get 3% of that. So that's a 0.3% day. Oh, did I just do a 6-7?
We can start winding down from here. I think we sort of got our good opening remarks. What do you think?
I think so too. Yeah, and I think it's time to start going into the guests. So, thank you, everybody. Thanks for showing up. Check out the description of this YouTube in order to get the next YouTube. So we're separating these so that you could watch them in segments instead of having to watch all 8 hours at one shot. So thank you, everybody. May Volland help you in your future trading ventures. See you in about 15 minutes with Oliver Sparring.